about breaking barriers. And because I need to break the barriers, I am not going to even look at the question. Sorry, organizer. So we're going to let it's going to be hot in here. No holds barred. Just ask questions. We will try our very best to answer. Why this session is actually very, very, very important, because I'm going to highlight to you few facts before I even introduce them. Okay? First, 64% female-funded company provides better result than the male counterpart. Positive. Come on, woman. That it is. 34% of the female-funded company gives higher return. Yes. But only 1% VC funding went to female-funded company. No, right? Okay, so this is why we are here today to tell you we need to dismantle this. We need to break this barrier. And according to World Economic Forum reports, to close the gender gap, it will take us 126 years. Okay? And excluding women from the digital technology economy, or they call it digital economy, will cost the world USD 1.3 trillion by 2025. Okay? You know why? Because we are the major contributors to the digital economy. Okay? And why is that happening even in Malaysia? Okay? First, there's a lack of representation or lack of representative in the BC industry, women. So here I am today to hopefully represent all of you. Tell me what you want to go and get it, okay? And secondly, there's so many of us, who are actually working or studying at the university, STEM, science, technology, the STEM, 44% women are in the universities. But the percentage went down tremendously to 3% because of 60.2% give reason due to the care economy, which what Ms. Nadira is trying to address, give reason because of elderly care and child care. Because we are all at the sandwich generation, we have kids that we need to take care of, and we have parents and parent-in-law that we need to take care of. So how do we actually address this issue? I'm going to ask Ms. Nadira to introduce herself and tell us a little bit more what Kitty Court's Shido Care is on about. So Nadira, the floor is yours. Jawab. Thank you, Nadira. Wah, dah kena suruh jawab. Soalan permulaan dia pun dah menakutkan I. Thank you, Amy. I'm very happy to be here today, especially in the hall that's majority filled by women. Congratulations. So many, right? Okay, just a little introduction because I think there will be more burning questions later. So I'm going to start by saying this. I'm a mommy of 6 children. That's my primary job. I'm an entrepreneur. I have started business a long time. And then I'm actually an electrical engineering graduate. And I started my first business very early. I worked as an engineer for a while before I started my company in hardware. I actually set up my own brand of computing products way back in the year 2004. That's a long time. And I evolved from being a hardware producer to software producer, went into renewable energy. And 4 years ago, I started Keto Care. And I started simply because of my own personal selfish needs. Right? Being a mother of 6 is no joke.
being an entrepreneur and somebody who was very active, in NGOs as well. At that time, I was the managing director of Girls in Tech Malaysia. I was also the deputy president of the National Council of Women's Organization. A whole lot of women empowerment organizations that I was leading. So there were times when, I actually forgot to pick up my children from school. There was this one time my daughter actually thought I didn't love her anymore because I left her in the childcare center until 10 p.m. Please don't judge me, right? But that's the reality of working mothers, working parents. It's difficult, right? I see here, women in the room, uncle, and you're not even mothers yet, right? So here I am trying to fix my work problem 4 years ago, right? And being somebody from the technology space, I was really looking at how technology could come in and solve this problem, right? How can we mobilize solution fast enough for people like me, right? For mothers and fathers who needed help when they needed help. Because conventional centers are there. We're talking about childcare centers, right? But not enough, Amy. Not enough. And we hear desperate parents sending their children just anywhere, right? And then we hear all this news about children being abused, children even dying. It was heartbreaking. So we thought, takkanlah dah ada knowledge, we cannot do anything about it. When I was given the skill, I must do something about it. So in 2019, we started off KiddoCare. It was a very small, humble company of 4. So when we first started, Amy, we faked the technology bit. we claim we were the first mobile platform. But what we were was the WhatsApp and Google Form, right? And we grew the company now to actually serving 70,000 families across Klang Valley with 12,000 babysitters on our platform. And Alhamdulillah, a strong 50 people in the company. So that's where we are right now. That's the short introduction. Thank you very much.
Okay, short introduction. So, even short introduction, there's 2 points that I would like to highlight. First, fake it until you make it. So there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Fake it if you want to be like Angelina Jolie until you make it, okay? And then secondly, you can actually clearly understand what Nadira is saying. He or she is actually addressing the pain point. So that's a tip point to start off. Like if ever you want to have your own business or your own startup, first, find the pain points, okay? So Nadira, thank you. And Elaine, let us know a little bit more about you. Very lovely photo in Cheongsam. So yes, Elaine.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Nadira. Really nice backstory. So yeah, I'm a lawyer by training. Originally from Kuching. So and I started my first company in KL, a very women's focused company, where we place Filipino domestic helpers in households for Malaysian employers. So our clients are women, mainly it's women looking for these services. So you can also be like the burden of childcare. Even in a partnership that looks equal, will always fall on women to look for care services. And the interesting part is our worker market and demographic are also women. And when they leave their homes, they get other women to take care of their children. So we have responsibility to an entire chain of stakeholders of women. I relocated back to Kuching in 2020, and ever since then, started another company called Migrate Safe. And Migrate Safe is, a professional recruitment agency aiming to improve the service reliability of migrant worker recruitment in Malaysia. I think no one can disagree that Malaysia's success today as an economic powerhouse has very much been attributed to our migrant worker recruitment framework and how successfully we've executed that. But in the last few years, we've also seen a lot of problems in Malaysia kind of being in the headlines for the wrong reasons. But the industry is shifting, like our leaders are signaling that they are moving up the value chain, and so is Malaysia, and Migrate Safe is here to support that shift in terms of improving transparency in the migrant recruitment segment. We are planning to go into a very male-dominated and kind of heavy industry, so manufacturing, construction, plantation, you name it. We're trying to see how we can get into that. But right now we're starting small with the helper placements, and we're also doing some expat visa placement, expat visa services, mainly working with immigration. And our main kind of goal is to support Sarawak in all its variety of labor needs and immigration needs. And yeah, that's kind of my backstory. Yeah, that's my wedding photo from Romania. I took that photo in -1 degree. It was super cold. But yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. These two women are doing a wonderful things, and it is not without a painful journey. But please let me understand a little bit. Are we women in Malaysia? Are we less empowered, or are we less being given an opportunity from your perspective?
So from my perspective, I don't think there is lack of opportunity, to be honest. Right? I think women could have it all. Of course, you cannot have it all at the same time. You have to decide what's more important for you, and then, you prioritize. But I think we have the opportunities because we don't have lack of access to education. We do not have lack of access to support. If we want to get support, they are there, right? But sometimes we do not know where to go or who to go and get the support from, right? So, I want to talk about, it can be a whole wide spectrum of things that you want to talk about, right? So I want to talk about being a woman in the tech space, right? Let's talk about, I'll read out to funding. They talk to funding women in the tech space. Being somebody who, started a startup, and it's a tech-based startup. So I didn't actually tell you what KiddoCare was. KiddoCare is actually a platform that connects parents with trained and certified care service providers. We started off with providing care services for children. We are currently evolving ourselves to also become a platform to serve families' needs. So we're serving cradle to grave. Hopefully we don't get to put to grave too soon kan? But we're serving that spectrum, right? Now, in building the business, it requires a lot of, knowledge in terms of technology, resources, people who build the technology, a lot of investment. And although there is no lack of opportunity for women to pursue the investment, there might be challenges, right? And I can speak from my own experience in terms of starting this business and trying to find investment, right? Being a woman, right? And I must say, I don't like this, but it is still prevalent. There are still challenges in terms of our capability, especially when we talk about building technology-based services, right? Technology-based companies, right? So sometimes I feel women will need to put in extra effort to show that you are capable. It doesn't mean that you cannot. It just means that you have to put in extra effort, and that's the reality of it, right? I have been questioned many times by people who actually ask me, so Nadira, you run this company, but who's behind you? I would turn around and, make all sort of fun thing and say, what, there's a ghost behind me or what? Because they don't believe that a woman is actually capable of developing a company that's tech-based, right? Some people even ask me things like, so how are you going to run a business when you're a mother and you have to take care of your children and your family or whatnot, right? And these are the harsh realities. But sometimes I feel, right, once you overcome that barrier, you speak the language that the investors want to hear, right? You speak their language. You show that you really know your business. You show that you really know how to build your business. They will have that sense of respect in you and believe in you that they will invest in you. And for that reason, I think we have been able to raise 2 rounds of investment, and we are currently closing 1 very soon, right? So not without challenges. Opportunities are there. Yes, you have to work probably extra hard. You have to exert yourself and really show the confidence and But sometimes this is where women usually lack lah, kan? The knowledge you have to build very strong network of supporting ecosystem around you. You need to build that. You have to have strong mentors who are able to speak for you, right? But the network is there. The problem is, do you want to access it or not? Or how much reason are you going to give yourself for not accessing those opportunities? That's from me.
Thank you. Thank
You're listening in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nadira, for such interesting tips for all of us women out there. And Edith, how about you? What do you think? Are we less empowered, or are we given less opportunity? Tell us your painful journey to be where you are at now.
Yeah, I mean, my entry to this industry, I haven't really thought much about that, but I guess now that I'm 30 and I'm an aspiring mother, I do find myself at odds with, oh, do I go full speed with this company, or, like, how am I going to balance everything? I do experience that anxiety a lot more now that I'm married. So hats off to you, Natira. I really don't know how you did it. It's tough. Sometimes you feel like you have to choose. But again, talking about who stands behind you, I have an amazing co-founder who stands behind me, that who supports me in every aspect of the work. And I think it really is about building a team that can help you get to places, and knowing like what your strengths are. I haven't had a lot of experience raising money. We've recently been funded by STAT. But yeah, I guess like women probably around my age, not that this is an excuse, it's just, I do feel like I'm facing this dilemma and approaching this dilemma now. But I think confidence, definitely, between men and women. Women do tend to lack more confidence, and it's very important to be very self-aware of that and stop questioning yourself. And you gotta be better at faking it until you make it. Whereas I feel like sometimes the guys, they have that confidence, right, that women sometimes lack, especially in entrepreneurs, between women and men entrepreneurs. And being an entrepreneur, you really got to be really, really confident, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else would. And why would anyone else believe in you? You're talking about an entire team. You're talking about pitching in front of investors who see like hundreds and thousands of pitches a year. Why should they invest in you if you don't look like, or, you believe in yourself? So I think thinking about going into entrepreneurship as a woman, and especially in tech, which is a very fast-paced industry, which also explains why it's more male-dominated. I think that really working on that confidence and getting past that mindset of I'm not good enough is essential, really, really essential.
Thank you, Ian. So let me back now what my friends are saying on the stage with data. Okay, it is actually proven. Men, when they are working on the pitching presentation or any presentation, even at 60%, they will go out there and talk like they have done it to 300%. Okay, which is good. But we, women, we have this syndrome called imposter syndrome. Okay, we are perfectionists, so we have to wait until the deck that we are preparing to up to 120%, baru we will go out and pitch. So we have actually lost the time that the men already go out there and ask for feedback, ask for information. We have lost the time. So this is where, again, fake it while you make it. It's okay if only at 10%. Go out and ask for feedback. So what Nadira highlighted just now, if you need a mentor, go and look for a mentor. If you need a support system, you have all of us here. So with that, I would like you to take out your phone, look at all of us there, reach out to us through Instagram, reach out to us through LinkedIn. This is where your first step to create network. say hi to us. Hi, like Miss Nadira, thank you for presenting that day. That kind of network you did, and then keep on asking for help. So if you're gonna talk about asking for help, let me ask Miss Nadira, like when you are about to raise your fund and when you need to build your network, tell us your experience and share with us how do you actually do that. I mean, is it through social media? How do you do that? How do you actually find a mentor? How do you actually create your network?
Oh, I kacau lah. I kacau. I identify who I want to, build my network with, right?
How do you identify it? Macam mana kita start? Macam mana?
So I guess, at different stages of my journey, I behave very differently. Now I auntie already, so I behave also differently lah, right? And I'm luckier now because the uncles and the aunties around my age are my friends, right? But when I was growing up and building my business, right? And I was young, I started a business in hardware, and it was tech, right? And I was basically in my area at that time when we were in hardware production, and we were going against the likes of Denline, HP line, whatnot, and maybe you all in the room pun tak biasa dengar some of the brands dulu. When we first started, I was basically the only woman in the space, being young, that started off a hardware production company, right, in Malaysia, right? So it was very difficult to break into the network of, all other men lah. Very difficult. And for you to establish yourself and to get them to respect you, right? Suppliers, the other manufacturers, the hardware, and everything else, the ecosystem players, it was very tough. But once they see that you're very serious, you know what you're talking about, you know how to run the business, they have such respect for you that they will open up the doors and they will create this network for you. So in my early times, right, at that time, there were no such thing as LinkedIn, Instagram, just where you really had to go and knock on people's door. You really have to go and build your network at networking events, right? So at that time, that was how I did it, and I was growing up. But now I think, we're luckier because we can find people online. There are a lot more inspirational stories. There are events like this where people come out and share. You know who they are. You get inspired to be like them. People who are sharing, freely sharing. When I was starting my business, people were very, protective of the things that they do, right? And they don't want to share, so it's very difficult. But these days you can find when you go into networking events, and I think entrepreneurs these days are very fine with sharing, right? And they are approachable, so you can go out to them, basically just meet them at events and say, hey, I really love what you're talking about. That makes good sense. Tell me more about it. And we're just here sharing, because this is what we all feel as an entrepreneur, right? You can have the same ideas as we do, right? At the end of the day, whether you can pull it off or not, it all depends on your execution, your network, how fast you move, your resources and things like that. So there is nothing wrong with sharing these days. We're happy to. In fact, among competitors, sometimes we just talk and say, hey, how are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Because although we think that's a good idea, doesn't mean that we can pull it off, right? But we learn. So, how I do this these days, I would attend as many functions as I can, especially startup functions, right? Because people are so approachable. It's so easy to speak to people these days, right? And then the second thing after that, after you meet them there, you go and kacau them on TikTok. That's what I do, right? I will kacau. Because for you to establish yourself and establish your company, you must have that hustling culture, right? And you build that from your social media, you build that on your LinkedIn, and that will help you build and hustle your way through your business. So I hustle. That's what I do.
So she's a hustler. Another tip, fake it until you make it, and then become a hustler. What is this, man? This woman, what they do on the stage? She was all mafia. But it's okay, we call it Math Cat Mafia. They're all my friends. Okay, Edith, tips from you, because I have another 5 minutes before I take the question from the floor. Sabar ya. Kita tanya Edith, lepas tu I'm going to open the floor. Please ask us questions, burning questions. Okay?
Yes, Edith.
Sure. I guess coincidentally, one of the co-founders of LinkedIn is one of the most incredible networkers of all time. And he's written a number of books on this. Hoffman. Go and read his books. One of it is called The Startup View, which really dives deep into how to build genuine relationships in professional circles, how to network. And yeah, I guess you just have to try and get rejected to learn, right? Like when it comes to networking. And at the same time, I think be generous, sharing, that's important. Even if we've built up IP in our own space, when we share with other people, they give back in return. That's usually how human relationships work. And I think you just gotta be like a really likable person as an entrepreneur, right? To be able to network, and your network is absolutely essential. Who kind of matters for every aspect of the business, whether it's plugging in new collaborators or getting investments and so on. So you gotta really build up this skill. And again, that's kind of linked to confidence, right? Us girls, like we really need to put ourselves out there. Don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared of people judging you or thinking that you're not good enough. These are things that we're raised around, certain cultural norms that, once you come into a space like this, you gotta be really, really aware of it and work it away or like suppress it a little bit in order to, I guess, be able to put yourself out there and just build that network.
Okay, so we have actually heard from Elaine, we have actually heard from Nadira, and I am going to actually ask the question from the floor, and I'd like to hear and listen to every woman in this room. Not that we're going to fight with the guy; they are going to be our ally. We get them. Don't go and fight with them, okay? I mean, we can always collaborate and can always talk to each other. But what I'm seeing from the data and from the research, not that women in Malaysia are less empowered. We are not. But are we given an equal opportunity? It's actually for all of us to answer and for all of us to fight the cause. Okay, not fighting with the guy. Okay, tak apa. We need them. They're going to be our ally. Okay. So first question from the floor. Ladies, come on, ask us a question. Yay. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you, and we love to do you.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Boleh cakap bahasa Melayu
Boleh.
Saya sekarang di Adan Uci. Okay, saya ada 2 soalan. Saya a mother. I am a mother. Okay, sorry, campur. I'm a mother of 3 kids. Seorang lelaki, 2 perempuan. And then I married a foreigner. Saya ada satu soalan untuk Puan Nadira and then Puan Lily. Okay. Semasa saya hidup ni, sorry, soalan saya mungkin agak menakutkan. Masa hayat saya ni, sekarang ni saya ada masalah imigrasi dengan untuk suami saya. Dia belum ada PR, dia cuma ada PLS, stay suami isteri dengan anak-anak. So sekarang ni saya terpaksa handle everything. Saya cari nafkah. So it's macam kaca shock kat saya. Because saya macam kat rumah je. Then at the same time, saya kena educate pula anak. Anak saya, generasi sekarang ni dia yang more advanced. Dia lebih pandai lagi design daripada saya sekarang yang 11 tahun. Saya nak masukkan dia sekolah cemerlang macam di Putrajaya tak dapat. Dekat sini tak ada. Bawah 18 tahun. So what I do, now saya terpaksa belajar design text. Alhamdulillah, syukurlah ada design text sekarang ni saya baru tahu. Free to Sarawak kid. As well lulus. And then I made a digital student. So soalannya, saya nak tanya macam apa yang patut macam KDP, saya baru tahu dia. Mungkin musik tak ada.
Ya, sebab tidak tahu kucing tapi kalau ada orang yang nak part-time dengan kita lah.
Dia boleh angka. See, that's how you do it. Saturday, guys. Listen.
Sebab saya macam dah ada macam masa nak bercerita maklumat apa semua nak anak. Sekarang ni suami saya tukar pula jadi macam bibi. Dia jangan nak kat rumah. Saya pasal keluar bekerja cari duit part time. Sambil tu saya full time student juga dekat Sentex. And sekarang ni cuti tak ada. Nanti register 31 Julai and ada course. Saya ambil belajar tu pun untuk anak-anak actually. Bukan untuk saya sendiri. Tapi saya pasal di bawah 18 tahun ni tak perlu saya thank you. Itu saya nak tahu.
Itu soalan yang pertama ya untuk Wan Nadira.
I appreciate pasal buat.
Ya, soalan nombor 2.
Soalan kedua.
Ya.
Sekiranya saya yang pergi dahulu sebelum suami saya. Dia foreigner. Dia belum ada PR. Anak-anak saya 3 orang tu Malaysian. Apa yang patut saya bagi tahu suami saya prepare sekiranya dia tak dapat sebab dia tak ada PR, dia mungkin susah nak kerja sini. Bila dia migrate, bawa anak saya migrate balik ke Turkey, they have experience that macam mana masa depan dia orang ada kat sana ni. Macam apa patut saya buat. So I have to tell to my husband what he should do. Kata saya itu.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Nadira, the first question, how do we actually address it? Do you actually have it to check? The Fido care to actually help ease the burden? And then, Eileen, from immigration perspective, how do you do that? Let's go.
Pertama sekali Puan, I want to express my respect to you. For doing what you are doing. That is admirable, right? And I think, I don't want to be biased, but I think only mothers would do this, right? Only mothers would do this. Take care of the family, study for their children, not study for herself. She studies for her children. She's constantly nurturing her children. She's constantly taking care of people around her. So my hats off to you, Puan. Itu nombor 1, right? Nombor 2, sebelum Kidoke masuk ke kucing, dan also hats off to your husband who is taking the role of the caretaker, right? The babysitter. Kidoke tak ambil lagi lelaki untuk jadi babysitter. Tapi kalau kita dah ambil lelaki, we can take your husband. Not an experience.
Why not? So I
Not yet. Not yet, but we plan to do that, inshallah, with our elderly care. But your question was, how do you manage? Is it? How do you manage all this? I guess you are already doing it. You're putting your priorities, right, where you need to put. And I think this is the reality of being a mother who is in business or any working mothers, right? In fact, parents lah. You put priority what is important, right? You will decide mana satu yang penting untuk you buat sekarang. Yes, women can have it all, but you can have it all in different proportions. That's what I believe. You cannot have it all in 100%. You have it all based on your priority at different proportions. If right now your priority is making sure that you are the main provider for the family, that is the priority. You make your husband your primary caretaker of the family, which is great, right? Until you sort out your problems. But that's what I do. I want to just say, right? For a woman who wants to go into business and have family to take care of and priorities like this, you can have it, but be real with yourself. Have priorities set. Which one is more important to you? And then break it down. Have a support network. We would love to be your support network here. Until we are here, I think you're doing a great job. Wonderful. I wish you all the best one.
Thank you, Nadira. And Gil, over to you.
So, short and disclaimers are fine.
Hello? Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing. Very personal matter, but thank you for sharing because actually my husband, suami saya juga bukan warga negara Malaysia. So kami pun tinggal di Sarawak sini. Kami pun faham apa masalah-masalahnya untuk orang yang berkahwin, terutamanya warga negara Malaysia perempuan yang kahwin dengan foreigner men. Ini memang constitutional issue. Mungkin puan pun tahu tentang citizenship punya issue. Dekat Sarawak sini is harder. It's harder, but not necessarily just for women, Sarawakian women. For Sarawakian men married kepada foreigner, juga susah. Yeah, so I understand the challenges and actually I also think about the same concern that you have kalau kami ada anak-anak pada masa depan dan if I'm no longer here, how my husband's staying here and my kids are Sarawakian. I think about this too, but in my free time, saya juga ada volunteer dengan Family Frontiers. I think that it's hard if you are married to a foreign man to think too much about all the worst case scenario. because more often than not, ini bukan pasal like ini bukan things that we can control lah. But if you want, you can come and speak to me later because we are very familiar with all the immigration policies in Sarawak. Mungkin kami boleh bagi advice yang tertentu untuk kamu punya husband and cara dia boleh kerja di sini juga. Sebab the difference also that I'm seeing with the foreign spouses, the foreign husbands, they tend to struggle a lot more than the foreign wives because the foreign wives, again, all the conversations that we've been having, they assume the role of the caretakers, especially if they have kids. But I think as a Sarawakian woman, also married to a foreign man, I feel very bad for my husband as well when he goes through a lot of these challenges. But I think that these are things we can always address again to the right forum in government. But just to manage your expectation, these kind of immigration matters take very, very long to change. Not because the government is not on our side, but because you are talking about constitutional matters and immigration act. So, yeah, I understand the anxiety. But again, what Nadira said, I think that everything you are doing is very admirable. Yeah, but if we can help with the immigration matters, please come and speak to me and my team. That they're also here later.
Thank you so much, Eileen. I actually gonna take. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm pressing for time. One last question from the. Yes, I love you. I love Sarawakian ladies. They're very fast. Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm not from Sarawak. My name is Faizan from Kota Kinabalu. Oh, Sabah. Yeah. I just refer yeah. I am a software developer and the founder of NXT Academy, the first coding and digital school in Sabah. Well done. Come on, a big round of applause. And then. So my question is to Nadira, because you mentioned earlier that you said you are not lacking of opportunities. And in fact, women can have it all if it's possible. But my question is, if that's the case, then why do you think we still do not have many women in leadership role in tech? And what can we do to address that? Thank you.
Thank you. I think the fact that, we don't have lack of opportunities to go there, right? But then there are certain challenges that we need to overcome. When you talk about, where are the women in tech leadership, right? Let's look at women in leadership as a whole, not just tech, right? But let's look at the funnel of women, right? So we have women, graduate from our higher learning institution, Sergeant, more than men, right? But only 39.2% of women actually go into our workforce, formal workforce. 39.2%, Sergeant. Well, many of them decide, they get married, I don't want to move, I take care of my children or whatnot, or I have other obligation, or I start small business, right? And then out of this 39.2%, when they get children, they move out. Sometimes they don't come back in, right? And then sometimes they grow some more, right? Their funnel becomes smaller because 39.2% tadi dah tinggal fraction after childbirth, they come back. They decline promotion. They don't want to take promotion anymore because they cannot take that additional responsibility, right? They're going to have to come back late as they progress or they have more work to do and whatnot. Cannot bundle up, right? So, women in leadership kat atas tu jadi smaller, right? So, we just don't have enough. There's opportunity to move, correct? Nothing wrong with that. But, it's the decision you make whether you have your support system around to enable you to take that decision. Right? So that's the other thing. Now, like Amy rightly say, right? When we are young, we have to take care of our family, our children, right? So that is the point when women have to make the decision, should I pursue to my management level or not? But once you are in management, then you want to move into the higher management pula, your top leadership, then you are then plagued with the question of who's going to take care of my aging parents? Is it me? Right? So this is the problem, right? Here kita tak cukup jaga anak. Bila dah tua sikit nanti nak kena jaga mak bapak. Jaga diri sendiri lagi, right? So we have less partner. So this is what I think. Whether we are looking at women in leadership position, general or tech, right? Doesn't matter, right? The question is leadership. Number one, we have to solve the issue of making sure women can have the decision to stay on, right? Ways of work will need to be changed, right? Last time, And when I say we don't have the opportunity, we have the opportunities now because the ways have changed. Kalau dulu tak boleh. You have to come into workforce. You have to come into work on a daily basis. You cannot attend physically. But COVID has changed this already. People know that we can indeed work mobile, right? Now, this needs a lot of changes, right? Of course, the management, the HR needs to put policies in place. They need to know how to work remotely. They need to give that kind of flexibility. They need to be able to work on a flexible mode, right? So that will enable women to progress. More women can actually take the responsibility of their children. At the same time, also progress in work, right? So flexible working, putting in family-friendly policy in workplaces will enable women to progress in leadership position, right? And that will cover throughout. Of course, that's family work policy. That's going to address the issues of that. Having more men involved also with taking care of the care responsibilities, right? And actually incentivizing the men to take care of these responsibilities would be another way for getting women to progress. Opportunities are there, but how do we put in measures to support those kind of opportunities is another thing, right? So I would take it from a care perspective because that addresses the funnel. So once the funnel becomes bigger, of course, naturally we're going to have more women in that kind of position. Whether tech or not tech, semua boleh, insyaAllah.
Yeah, I only have 1 minute. There's I couldn't take any further question, but what I'm going to tell you, please follow all of us on the social media or
Yumi, one question.
yes.
I have one question for Aki. Can I ask you one question? Okay. I still to ask you one question because here we are talking about putting more women in leadership lah, more women in startup lah, whatnot, kan? How are we, Amy, going to have more investment in women-led companies?
Okay, Prajal, well, I'm going to answer that. I'm just going to share a little bit about MAFCAP. If you want to know a little bit more information, please take out your handphone and follow official MAFCAP. Or you can also follow me personally because I will try my level best to answer your question. Yes, I highlighted to you just now, 1%, only 1% female being funded by the VC, venture capital, modal roka dalam bahasa Melayu. I came back recently from London, spending a few years there for one reason. I believe in the industry, I believe in venture capital, and I even have my director of strategy went there. So we all just joined MAFCAP. And we hope to be able to actually champion this diversity, equity, and inclusivity. It's a long journey, but we are not saying that we are not doing anything about it. You'll be able to look on all our social media. We have started championing the DEI, or I personally be championing the gender lens investing. And give me a little bit more time, give me and my team a little bit more time so that we'll be able to focus and find ways on how you will come in and to be able to support all of you, because we are the government agencies. Yeah, thank you. We were fully funded by Ministry of Finance. As you know, it will take a lot of energy, a lot of exchanging ideas, thousands at workshop to actually champion a policy. But rest assured, we are here today to actually champion this. You all women, we are going to get there for you, but give us a little bit more time. Sabar ya. We will champion this. Thank you so much. And with that, before I end this session, I want to summarize and wrap this session with 3 key takeaways from the presenters. First, fake it until you make it. Okay? Do that. Tak apa, macam mana sekalipun. It's a very, very clear message. It's not easy. Nobody says it's going to be easy. But I'm sure, after 2 or 3 years, it is going to be worth it. Because again, 90% of startups will fail by the end of the day. And don't be that 90%. Because you have to be that 10%. So fake it until you make it. Secondly, become a hustler. Regardless, okay? Nobody in this ecosystem will come when you go to them and ask them to ask for help, but they are going to say no. So please reach out to anybody, your friends, your family, your ecosystem, but, on all the brands left and right, Cradle, Mathcap, reach out to them and ask them for help. If you ever need help, it doesn't matter whether it's funding, whether it's advisory, anything, but ask for help. If you are being rejected, no worries, continue asking. That is what or how we're becoming a hustler, okay? And thirdly, network. You might not be able to see now the result, but trust me, there's actually a whole lot of time investment and invest properly, okay? You can start by just go to other people's LinkedIn. And my tips for you today, before I end this session, again, I'm not promoting myself, but I have crafted or I've done my LinkedIn professionally. I paid £200, that's RM1,200. Sekarang currency dah naik kan, 5.9, to help to work with somebody to help me craft my LinkedIn. And if you're a student, if your direction after this, like whether you're going to build your own business or looking for a job overseas or even locally, you can go to my LinkedIn because it has been professionally done and it has been proven. I was approached by 3 companies. Like, I wasn't looking for a job, by Amazon, by McKinsey, as well as one of largest VC in the world. So LinkedIn is your first gateway for your network. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us, Sarawak. I love Sarawak. We love Sarawak, and we hope to be able to continue to engage and network with each and every one of you. With that, Assalamualaikum.